everyone, welcome back to Cravings Food Adventures. I'm Cardamoms. Today on our adventure, we're going to Pakistan to make these delicious Chapli kebabs. Chapli kebabs are famous in Pakistan as well as India, but they're especially famous in Peshawar. Peshawari kebabs or Chapli kebabs are delicious, deep fried kebabs. Sometimes they put a piece of tomato on top and they fry it together, and it looks absolutely stunning and is amazingly delicious. Before I go any further with this easy recipe, be sure to subscribe to my channel and share my channel and my videos with your family and friends. And don't forget, ring the bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Now, let's get cooking. I'm going to start by roasting some whole spices. I have 5 cardamoms, 2 star anise, a 1-inch stick of cinnamon, and I'm going to follow this with 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds and 2 teaspoons of coriander seeds. I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of peppercorns. Lightly toasting the whole spices wake up the flavors, and the aroma is incredible. You don't want to heat it too much as you don't want the spices to burn. Now I'm just going to leave this aside to cool down. In the same pan, I'm going to add half a cup of chana ka atta, what we call in Hindi. This is simply chickpea or gram flour. I just want to lightly toast this to enhance the flavor. The pan is already hot, so this is not going to take long at all. I'm seeing it change to a shade darker, so I'm just going to take this off the heat and leave it aside to cool. Using a pastry brush makes this really easy to get all of the flour out of the pan. This pan has now been rinsed and dried. I'm just going to clear up before adding a touch of oil to the pan. Add 1 egg and scramble it. You want to scramble the egg just so it's barely cooked and not overcooked. Some people add scrambled eggs to their chapli kebabs and some don't. In many original recipes in the dhabas of Peshawar, they use bone marrow in their chapli kebab. I'm presuming that home cooks try to create that texture in the kebab by using a soft scrambled egg. The whole spices are now cooled down, so it's time to grind this to a fine powder. If you have fresh garam masala already handy, you can add 6 teaspoons to your kebab mix and simply skip this step. This powder is still looking quite coarse, so I'm going to keep processing it till I get a nice fine powder. It's not going to be very appetizing to get a large chunk of cinnamon or cardamom in your kebab. By the way, in many recipes, some whole coriander seeds are reserved before grinding just so you can see them in the kebab mix. My husband is not a fan of whole coriander seeds, so I'm just grinding mine up. I have a pound here of ground mutton mince, and I'm going to add this to my food processor. You can use lamb or even beef. Many also make this with chicken, although chicken keema is a lot more delicate. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm using sea salt, but you can use any kind of salt that you like. I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of ginger and garlic paste. I always prepare fresh batch for my cooking, but you can also use store-bought. And here are all of the whole spices that I ground to a powder. As I mentioned before, if you have fresh garam masala already prepared, you can add 6 teaspoons to your kebab mix and you could skip this grinding process. Finally, I'm going to add 1 whole egg and I'm going to process the meat. Grinding this pre-ground meat again with the spices and the egg is really going to help the mixture coagulate and stick together. If you plan to prep chapli kebabs ahead, you can store the meat in the fridge at this stage and only add the other ingredients just when you're ready to fry. Even if you're planning to make this right away, Leave the ground meat in the fridge for at least 30 minutes to an hour. Cooling the meat is going to make it much easier to handle. My meat mixture is really nice and cool now, and it's time to add the other ingredients. I'm going to add 1 cup of finely diced onion, a half cup of tomato that I've diced. There are no seeds or pulp. I've taken all of this out, and you make sure to use really nice firm tomatoes for this recipe. I'm also going to add the scrambled egg that I scrambled earlier, and I'm going to add a half cup of coriander. Now this has also been chopped finely, and I'm also going to make sure that the coriander is really nice and dry. We don't want any additional moisture in this kebab. If we added the onion and tomato earlier in the mix, it would release moisture into the meat. Next, I'm going to add the roasted gram flour, and I'm going to give everything a really good mix. I completely forgot to add chili flakes, so I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of chili flakes, and I'm going to mix that in. I'm adding a cup of oil to my pan, and I'm just going to allow this to heat up. It's always a good idea to try a small portion of the mixture just to make sure that the salt and seasoning is enough. A quick taste, and I can tell this can use a little bit more salt, so I'm going to add some more salt to my mix. I have some tomato slices here, as there are some that serve their kebabs with a slice of tomato wedged into the kebab. So we are going to attempt that today. You can also totally make these without the tomato. I'm going to be using some squares of parchment paper. This is going to help me shape my patties. Of course, the traditional way is to just slap the patty between your hands. My hands are oiled, and I'm going to grab a handful of the meat mixture, and I'm going to slap it down onto the parchment square. Flatten this out and take a slice of tomato. Now look at the size of this. It's not too thick and it's not too thin. If you slice your tomatoes too thin, they will turn into mush. Make sure to press the tomato firmly into the patty. Now let's make another one. Even though we are shallow frying these kebabs, we want to make sure there's enough oil in the pan so the meat is partially submerged in the hot oil. Using the support of the parchment sheet, I'm just going to overturn the kebab tomato side down into the hot oil. Leave this alone for a few minutes. Using the help of 2 spatulas, just flip them over. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Adding a slice of tomato to the chapli kebab is definitely more work, but I love how it looks, and also the contrast of the sweet tomato with the spiciness of the kebab is absolutely amazing. A quick shot for Instagram. Make sure you're following me on Instagram, as I post all of my recipes, sometimes even before they make it to YouTube. Using hot oil, you can just spoon this on top of the kebab if you have any spots that need a little bit more browning. Once this is cooked on both sides, remove this on some kitchen towel, and I'm going to start to prepare all of the other chapli kebabs. You don't have to use a slice of tomato in your chapli kebab if you don't want to, but they really do look beautiful. These are all done now and they're ready to be served. And like all kebabs, it's great served with a wedge of lime. Enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me on Cravings Food Adventures. I really hope you enjoyed this delicious recipe for chapli kebabs. Someone on my channel asked for this recipe a while ago and I'm really glad that I got a chance to make it today. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, guys. Do share my channel as well as my videos with your family and friends. And do ring the bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And be sure to follow me behind the scenes on all of my social channels. I upload a ton of behind the scenes footage there and I interact with you, ask you what you're looking for. So make sure you're following me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. Until I see you next time, do take care. Happy eating. Bye.